Well, that was strange. Like it tried to start over again on the intro. But everybody, welcome to LOCKBEARD Phenomena number 80. Tuatha Danann. It is Saturday, March 18th, 2023. Day after St. Patrick's Day. So, probably still a good day to look at things from Ireland. But going back before St. Patrick, because he showed up and caused all kinds of bullshit. He should have just stayed away. Mr. Lee, looks like you were first in the chat. Welcome. Lady in the Woods, what's going on? Angel. And Mr. Lee saying hello to Sexy Ken. Is Ken in the house? Along the Mississippi, about the middle of Iowa and Illinois, lady is. That's Sasquatch territory, says Mr. Lee. Only Sasquatch sighting around here was in the early 70s, sadly, she says. Although, aside from building lots, land prices being $14K an acre will keep people from talking. Boggy Creek fella. Thank you, lady. Fairies. We're kind of talking about the fairies. Supposedly, these people, the Tuatha Danann, are the fairies. Like they would become the fairies. After some stuff happened. There is a kind of this is a pretty decent account of everything. This is on a website called the Irish Road Trip. And the title of this piece is Tuatha Danann, the story of Ireland's fiercest tribe by Keith O'Hara. And he speaks first person in a lot of this, so hopefully it's not too confusing. I'll just read it straight through and try not to comment so it doesn't turn out too confusing. If you spent time reading any of the tales from Irish mythology, you'll have seen the Tuatha Danann mentioned frequently. The Tuatha Danann were a spiritual or supernatural race that resided in the other world, but that were able to interact with those living in the real world. Tuatha Danann is regularly associated with the likes of Newgrange and other ancient sites in Ireland, and they're a key part of Irish folklore. In the guide below, you'll discover how the Tuatha Danann came to be in Ireland, and you'll get an insight into the many battles that they fought. The Tuatha Danann, meaning the folk of the goddess Danu, were a supernatural race that arrived in Ireland during a time when the island was ruled by a group known as the Fir Bolg. Although the Tuatha Danann lived in the other world, they interacted and engaged with those living in the real human world. Tuatha Danann frequently featured in the writings of Christian monks. In these writings, the Tuatha are referred to as queens and heroes who possessed magical powers. At times, some writers referred to them as Celtic gods and goddesses. The goddess Danu was, in fact, the goddess of the Tuatha. Now, strangely enough, there are no existing myths about the goddess Danu, so we know little about her. What we do know is that Danu is the most ancient of the many Celtic gods. It's thought that she may have represented the earth and its fruitfulness. Where they came from, you'll often read articles that argue that the Tuatha hailed from a land that granted all those that lived there everlasting youth. I'm speaking, of course, about the ancient land of Tir na Nog. If you remember the story of Oisin, the son of Fionn mac Cumhaill, and his journey to Tir na Nog, you'll remember that he traveled there overseas from Ireland. Now, this is never actually confirmed in Irish mythology or in any evident history, but it's believed by some that this ancient land was the home of the Tuatha. Their arrival in Ireland. In Celtic mythology, the Tuatha made their way onto Irish soil. The mighty Fir Bolg were the leaders of our little island. However, the Tuatha feared no one, and they made their way over to the west coast of Ireland and demanded that the Fir Bolg surrender half of their land. The Fir Bolg were fearsome Irish warriors, and they refused to give even an acre of Irish land to the Tuatha. It was this refusal that leads to the Battle of Mag Tuired. The Fir Bolg were soon defeated. You'll discover more about this battle and many other battles fought by the Tuatha in Irish mythology later in this guide. How they came to Ireland. One of the things that always confused me as a child was the history behind how these gods came to Ireland. Many of the myths surrounding their arrival contradict one another. If you've never heard of the Book of Invasions, it's a collection of poems and narratives that offers a history of Ireland from the creation of the earth right the way up to the Middle Ages. In this book, the legend goes that the Tuatha came to Ireland on flying ships of sorts, surrounded by dark clouds that engulfed them. It goes on to say that they went on to land on a mountain in County Leitrim, where they brought with them darkness that suppressed the light of the sun for 3 whole days. There's another story that says the Tuatha came to Ireland not on ships that flew through the clouds, but on regular sailing ships. What they look like? The Tuatha are often described as tall gods and goddesses that have blonde or red hair, blue or green eyes, and pale skin. You'll see this description portrayed on many drawings and illustrations of Celtic mythology books and some Irish history books that feature sections on Irish mythology that have been published over the years. The Tuatha has many members, but some are more prominent than others in Irish mythology. In particular, the most prominent members are Tuatha, the Dagda, Delbaith, Fiach, Mac Checht, I think, and Mac Green, and Lug. Tuatha is arguably the most notable member of the Tuatha. He was their first king and was married to Boann. Just to make things more confusing, he is sometimes referred to as Nechtan, Nuad Necht, or Ekmar. Tuatha is best known from the battle where he loses his hand, which results in the loss of his kingship. Also, however, he's not dethroned for long. He regains the crown when he is magically healed by Diane Checht. Dagda is another god that played an important role in Celtic mythology. In a number of stories, the Dagda is described as a large man giant with a beard that owns a club with magical powers. It's also said that the Dagda was a druid and a king that had the power to control everything from the weather to time. The home of the Dagda is reported to be the ancient site of New Grange. He's said to be the husband of the terrifying Morrigan. She haunted many of my dreams as a kid after I had been told stories of her appearances in Irish folklore before bed. Diane checked was a son of Dagda and was the healer for the Tuatha, often referred to as the god of healing. Diane is arguably best known for replacing King Nuada's lost arm after it was cut off by the Fear Bolg with a new silver one. Delbaith was the grandson of the Dagda, and it's said that he succeeded him as a High King of Ireland. Delbaith ruled for 10 years before he was killed by his son, Fiacha. Delbaith Delbaith was also the first god of was the first god king. Fiacha was the son of Delbaith and was another celebrated High King of Ireland. According to the Annals of Ireland, Fiacha killed his father to take his crown. Fiacha held the throne for 10 years until he was killed in a ferocious battle against Eogan of Imber. Mac Checht was another member of the Tuatha. One of the most notable stories involving Mac was when he and his brothers killed Lug, a god and a member of Tuatha. Upon the death of Lug, the brothers became joint High Kings of Ireland, and they agreed to rotate the kingship between them each year. The trio were actually the last kings to rule the Tuatha. Mac Green was the brother of Mac Checht and the grandson of Dagda. He was involved in the murder of Lug and was part of a trio of high kings that ruled Ireland. Lug is another god from Irish mythology. He was often described as a master of crafts and battle. Lug is the grandson of Balor, whom he ends up killing in the Battle of Mag Tuired. Interesting enough, Lug is the son of Chu Chulain's hero. Lug has a number of magical tools in his possession, such as a fiery spear and a sling stone. He also owns a hound that goes by the name Phalanus. The four treasures of Tuatha. The Tuatha were widely believed to have immense supernatural powers that made them feared by many. Each hailed from one of the four places: Findius, Gorius, Murius, and Phaleus. It was while living in these lands that they are said to have amassed vast wisdom and powers. When the Tuatha arrived in Ireland, they brought with them four treasures. Each of the treasures of the Tuatha possessed incredible power that made them some of the most feared characters in Celtic mythology. Dagda's cauldron had the power to feed an army of men. It was said that it had the ability to leave no company unsatisfied. The spear of Lugh was one of the most feared weapons in Celtic mythology. Once the spear was drawn, none could escape it, and any warrior that held it couldn't be defeated. The stone of Leofail, is believed to have been used to pronounce the High King of Ireland. According to legend, when a man worthy of kingship stood on it, the stone would roar with happiness. And the Sword of Light. According to the legend, when the Sword of Light is removed from its holder, no opposing enemy could escape it. In some stories from Celtic mythology, the sword resembles a bright glowing torch. Battles fought by the Tuatha. The Tuatha fought a number of battles that are well known in Celtic mythology. The first saw them face off against the mighty Fear Bolg. The second saw them come up against the Fomorians, and the third saw another wave of invaders, the Milesians, enter the battle. The Firbolg and the first battle of Mag Tuatha. When the Tuatha arrived here, the Firbolg ruled Ireland. However, the Tuatha feared no one, and they demanded half of Ireland from them. The Firbolg refused, and the battle known as the First Battle of Mag Tuatha began. At the time, the Tuatha were led by King Tuatha. The battle was fought in the west of Ireland, and the Firbolg were overthrown. During the battle, one of the Firbolg managed to cut off the arm of King Tuatha, which resulted in the kingship being turned over to a tyrant named Brace. Danann, checked god of healing, magically replaced Tuatha's lost arm with a new one made from the strongest of silver, and he was pronounced king again. This didn't last long, however. Miak, the son of Danann, was also a member of the Tuatha, wasn't happy that Tuatha was being given the crown. He used a spell that made flesh grow over Tuatha's shiny replacement arm. Danann was furious about what his son did to Tuatha and killed him. It was at this time that Briss, who was temporarily the king while Tuatha lost his arm, complained to his father Elatha. Elatha was a king of the Fomorians, a supernatural race in Celtic mythology. He sent Briss to get help from Balor, another king of the Fomorians. The second battle of Mag Tuatha. The Fomorians managed to oppress the Tuatha. They made the once noble kings perform menial work. Then Tuatha was visited by Lugh, and after being impressed by his talents, he granted him the command of the Tuatha. A battle commenced, and Tuatha was killed by Balor of the Fomorians. Lugh, who happens to be Balor's grandson, killed the king, which gave the Tuatha the upper hand. The battle was one of the Tuatha were no longer oppressed. Soon after, the tyrant Brace was found. Although many of the gods called for his death, his life was spared. He was forced to teach the Tuatha how to plow and sow the land. The battle ended when Dagda's harp was rescued from the remaining Fomorians as they retreated. The Milesians in the third battle. Another battle was fought between the Tuatha and a group of invaders known as the Milesians, who came from what is now northern Portugal. When they arrived, they were met by three goddesses of the Tuatha, Ariu, Banba, and Fodla. The trio requested that Ireland be named after them. Interesting enough, the name Ir comes from the ancient Iru. The three husbands of Iru, Banba, and Fodla were the kings of Tuatha. Mac Shuel, Mac checked, and Mac Green asked that there be a truce for 3 days. The Milesians accepted, and they anchored themselves 9 waves away from Ireland's shore. The Tuatha De Danann used magic to create a ferocious storm in an attempt to drive the Milesians away from the island. However, the Milesians weathered the storm after one of their men, a poet named Emergin, used a magical verse to calm the wild sea. The Milesians then made their way onto Irish soil and conquered the Tuatha. The She and the God of the Sea. The two groups agreed that they would rule different parts of Ireland. The Milesians would rule the Ireland that lay above ground, while the Tuatha would rule Ireland below. The Tuatha were led to the underworld of Ireland by the God of the Sea, Manannan. Manannan shielded the defeated Tuatha from the eyes of the people of Ireland. They were surrounded by a great mist, and over time they became known as fairies, or Ireland's fairy folk. So that's basically, where these fairies came from that people believe in now. It's now, what could possibly be true out of that, I don't know. Um, There is uh, evidence that there is a connection between people in India with the people of Ireland, um, genetic and stuff like that. But this goddess Danu is also a goddess in India, so it's an interesting thing. Um, and of course, this goes back to because there's a lot of connections to make, and there's no time. But you're dealing with red and blonde haired people, fair skinned people, and stuff like that. And you go, and this is going to be this is way back in the past, a long time ago. And so when people say, well, how can if there's a connection between the people of India and the people of Ireland? Yeah, there was some kind of migration at some point um, that connects them. But the people in India don't look anything like the people of Ireland, they say. But the problem is once they did, this is just not commonly known. At one time, all of Asia was redheaded people. A lot of them were redheaded. Um, Japan was occupied by these people that were Caucasian, not Japanese that we know today. They were completely different people. You look at the Turam Basin, I think it's called Turam Basin or Tarim Basin, mummies in China, redheaded people. You look at the accounts of Genghis Khan, like you see anyone draws a picture of Genghis Khan now, because we don't have pictures of him, right? They draw a picture of a guy that looks like a typical Mongolian. The problem was is this is not consistent with accounts of him or his family. A lot of them were said to be like gray-eyed, they called them. So this would be a lighter eye color, something you don't typically see in Asians, and red hair. There's a lost history to the world, and of course, a lot of people would, you just by stating this, they would suddenly say this is some kind of racist thing to say. Well, I can't help what the truth was. Can't help what the truth was. Um, it's just if we deny what the evidence shows us, then we're not going to learn anything. We're not going to learn anything. Um, there's a people still in Japan. They call the Ainu people. It's spelled Ainu. I'm probably not pronouncing that correctly. Like I probably didn't pronounce a lot of crap correctly, but whatever. These people now have been blended with what you call, Japanese people at this time. But they were originally Caucasian before they got blended. Japan was occupied by not what we call Japanese today, but by Caucasian people back in the day. So it was China, India, America, and there's again, you're gonna have to dive deep down the rabbit hole here, and eventually, when you pick up enough bits and pieces of archaeology, you'll start to see what we're talking about. Egypt, everywhere. Everywhere except, like deep into Africa, where the Africans were. But they've, of course, spread beyond that today. But these blonde and red haired people were all over the damn place and possessed some major technology beyond what other people understand. So when you see this legend from Ireland that these people possibly arrived on ships in the sky, I don't have any reason. I don't doubt it too much. I don't discount it. I'll say that. Now, a lot of people might say, well, back then they were probably just on ships. Well, probably, but they very well could have been technologically advanced enough to have technology to fly with, and there's a lot of this gets into like the moon thing too, because I think that this same civilization, I think, constructed the moon. A lot of people are not ready to digest that one, but whatever, there's too many things that don't add up about the moon, and so yeah. Of course, you all probably have watched at least some of the Ancient Aliens TV show, where they present a bunch of evidence that, or well, some of it's stretching it to call it very strong evidence, but it's pretty much a lot of evidence of something, but they always claim it's aliens instead of saying, well, there was an ancient race of humans that did all this crap. And that's the far more likely answer. Because why are aliens going to come to our planet and do all this stuff that they claim, and then somehow they're not showing their faces today? Where are they at? What's the deal here? Or this was an ancient civilization of humans that was technologically advanced, and then a big freaking rock hit the planet about 13,000 years ago and knocked their civilization's dick in the dirt. So the builders of that civilization that own that technology are still, their descendants are still here. They're us. Mr. Lee says Celtic gods, yes. Girlfriend was from west coast of Ireland. County Mayo, Curry in Ireland. Thank you, Mr. Lee. Mr. Lee says it's very weird how American pronunciation of Ireland, we say island in pronunciation. Yeah, that's the thing with a lot of the words, like you it take a lot to learn how to pronounce them all, because it's here. I mean, to us, we see it's spelled Ireland, right? So we call it Ireland, but y'all call it island. Well, or like the name of this, this I think I pronounce it right. It's it's spelled to an American. It looks like Tuatha Day or D Tuatha D Danann, but it's pronounced Thua Dunan. Thua Dunan, I think, is the correct. I'm probably close. Thua Dunan. Thua Dunan. But whether they were possessed of what would be perceived as magical abilities, that's well, what's magic, right? Is it just a science that isn't understood by the people that call it magic? You showed up with a cell phone in 1600s, they'd burn you at the stake. That's some kind of demonic talisman. Lady says that was interesting. Thank you. Girlfriend is a Buddhist and also Irish, an Irish Buddhist. Hey, there you go. Perhaps she is the reincarnation of Danu, Mr. Lee. Voodoo's here. He says, I'm a Cherokee, Scottish, and Irish, kind of like a mixed breed doggy. Welcome to the chat, Voodoo. You don't think she's the reincarnation of Danu, Mr. Lee? Scots, Irish, German, Dutch. You missed everything. Hold on there. The moon was constructed, says old lady. I think it was. If you look in the if there's there's a section of the intro to Lockbeard Phenomena that has some stuff on it that addresses the moon thing. And I think we did one night where we talked about the moon pretty specifically. Lady in the Woods, old lady was not created as in leftover from an asteroid smashing into the Earth, but the moon is, and the moon fractured off. Yeah, what I'm saying is that somebody, probably humans, built the moon, and it's now covered in dust and rocks and stuff because it's been impacted. You know, obviously it's been impacted many times, and so it's covered in debris. So to a lot of people that look at it and say, "Well, that's just the moon, right? It's a big piece of rock." Yeah, but there's a problem. There's a density problem with it. There's a presence of excessive amounts of titanium. There is the issue with yeah, the crater, the width of the craters. Is, well, I shouldn't even say that. There's a maximum depth. There's a maximum depth of the craters. They don't get very deep. They're very shallow. No matter how big around they are, they don't ever get any deeper, and they should be. There should be a more depth to them, but they don't. And there's all these things that indicate that there's um, underneath that dirt and dust, there is an extremely resilient shell in there. And with um, the issue of the titanium, the high titanium levels in that dust, um, it could be that some of that shell does get pulverized when an asteroid hits it, but it hasn't been penetrated. Somebody built that thing to take a lot of abuse. There's also the issue where I think it was the Apollo 12 mission where they dropped the lander on the moon. They put the seismic uh, 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 seismometers on the moon. So they measured what would happen. They wanted to know, they wanted to get some data from this, right? So they impacted the lander on the moon, and then their seismic readings. Basically, they said it rang like a bell for hours. So something's up. Something's up. If you put any credence into the remote viewer, oh, what was his name again? Anyway, basically, he said that when he worked for the government remote viewing stuff, one day they asked him to remote view the moon, and he went there and he saw some kind of people, I guess. And the weird thing was is they were able to perceive him remote viewing him, and he was basically told to get the hell out of there. So, you know, there's some weird stuff going on with the moon. It's way too big. Um, Mr. Lee says the moon is a space station constructed by Tom Cruise, Scientology, Tony. No, I'm sure Tom Cruise and Scientology had precisely dick to do with that. I think it was the ancient civilization. Well, the one I'm referring to, or perhaps an older one. I don't know. There may have been an even older one. We might not be talking about one civilization. We might be talking about multiples. But somebody built all them megalithic structures, that's for sure. And most of it's probably hidden under the sea. I'm sure the government's detected a lot of it, because the sea level rose 400 feet. Between 11 and 13,000 years ago, the sea level rose 400 feet. And where do humans live? They typically live near the sea. The vast majority, the highest percentage, the majority of the people live next to the sea. And there's no reason to doubt that they didn't do it the same way back then. Well, if the sea level rose 400 feet, that means most of the civilization that existed back then is under the water. But we found plenty of stuff on dry land today. They did that LiDAR scan of that jungle down in Central America. I think, wasn't it Central America? Can't remember where it was exactly. LiDAR scan of a jungle. No surveyor ever found anything in that jungle, right? Because the jungle took over. Everything's covered over. But LIDAR cuts through all the vegetation and stuff. And they were able to to perceive with the LIDAR 60,000 structures. There was some major shit going down thousands of years ago, and our government isn't being very forthcoming with that information. That's for sure. And I think part of the issue here is there was some advanced technology involved, and they're trying to make sure that they hide as much of it as possible. They don't want us to know. They want us to think that they put all this stuff together with chisels and ramps and ropes and crap like that, and that's just absolute bullshit. They had to have some kind of advanced technology to make all that happen. Just the volume of it. Even if you could justify saying that some of these bigger blocks were actually moved by these people, there's so many of them. It's like, how in the hell, does someone maintain the level of control over a civilization? And because at some point, people are going to be asked, like, why are we building this stupid thing? I mean, this is a big pile of rocks. Why the hell are we building this pyramid? We are busting our backs to build this bitch. Somebody's got some splaining to do. So there had to be a good reason for it beyond, oh, the gods told me to, or I told you to. I'm cracking the whip. Get to work. No, no, something's up. Something way bigger was going on. Lady says, "Oh, now that is believable, Mr. Lee. Tom Cruise created the moon. I can work with that." No, not Tom Cruise. Back of the moon is where Pink Floyd hangs out. Irie Hey, Mon, it's Irie Says Icon. Welcome, Icon. What's up? Um, having a little issue here with my StreamYard. So hopefully everything's working still. It was telling me my page is unresponsive, so hopefully nothing got hung up there. Dark side maybe, says Mr. Lee. Yeah. Mr. Lee says, fuck the moon, I want to talk Hellboy. Why do you want to talk Hellboy, Mr. Lee? Because of Tuatha? It's because there's a lot of there's some of this mythology is clearly influenced Hellboy 2, Hellboy 2, because you had Prince Tuatha, and they were basically fae folk. Lady says, I will read the past information on the origins of the moon. There's Uncle Bones. What's up? Voodoo says, moon is an alien base. They're hiding in plain sight, watching, waiting. Well, I mean, some people who have figured out that the moon's probably hollow are leaning into the alien idea, but I'm not. I'm not buying into alien. Like, again, why would aliens come from light years away to our planet and build a moon to watch our dumbasses? Like, I don't think we're as interesting as we think. We're pretty interesting, but I don't think we're as interesting as as we think. I think people just wish there were aliens hanging around, and at the end of the day, what's going to turn out it's this ancient race of people. Some of them are still hanging around and still, technologically advanced, and they're not alien. They're humans. They're a race of humans. Um, that's just not going to satisfy the desire of some people for them to be something more exotic. Actually, isn't that John Cafferty? Ron Perlman. Excellent. Hellboy. David Harbour, rubbish, says Mr. Lee. Yeah, Ron Perlman, I thought I thought they had a really good thing going there. They probably needed a little bit of help with their writing, but they were doing all right. Ron Perlman was working great. Whatever his girlfriend's name was, I mean, I bet she wishes to hell that they had called me to carry on the Hellboy writing, because I mean I thought they had some something good to start with, you know. But see, you know, the problem is it's this just like with everything in Hollywood. If it's culturally attached to white culture, they shy away from it. They're like, oh, well, you know, let's get away from this shit. No more, you know, Lord of the Rings. We gotta fuck it all up, you know. And they did. They tried. They did, and basically the fans have just rebelled anytime they do this stuff. But you know, we can represent every culture on Earth, but if we represent the white cultures too much, they get all pissed off. Oh, we gotta infect it somehow. We gotta do something. Like we can't put a white person in Wakanda, but we can put a black person in Asgard. I mean, you know, what I mean, these are the gods of you know, ancient white cultures, and so what did they do? Like with the Warriors 3, like one was Asian, and then and then of course I'm forgetting his name, was black. It's like, how are you gonna stick other races into the gods of these people? But I bet if we did that, if we race swap some of the gods from another culture where their gods are all basically look like the people that's where their gods, they would freak out. They would freak out. Oh my God, you can't do that. Well, you always trying to do it to these people. Stop it. Stop it. You know, Vishnu is not a white guy, so you wouldn't replace Vishnu with a white actor, right? In a movie, you just wouldn't. But but yeah, I mean, they could have with the Hellboys. But what they do? They instead they wanted to reboot, and I'm like, well, look how that went for you. You know, it didn't go too well, did it? They had something they could have worked with, but if they got the right people in control of the creative process, but they don't, and they got yahoos that are always trying to fiddle with stuff and mess stuff up, and it's just and there ain't no going back. I mean, it's over, Mr. Lee. You know it's over, right? Hellboy's over. Ron Perlman, you know, he probably, if they came and said, "Hey, we want to try and bring you back," maybe he'd be like, "Yeah, get the fuck out of here." He'd probably say no. Um, Lee says, "I kind of know I like beavers." What in the hell? Lady says, "I am being educated on the origin of the moon by Lockbeard, and I'm intrigued." Well, I wouldn't say it's conclusive, lady, but there's some stuff that don't add up. The moon is groovier. Give me some crackers. Tom Cruise says, Lockbird, I will sue you. Better be ready. Why? Why, Tom Cruise? Why? Why would you sue me? Mr. Lee says, one night off for F's sake, Tom. Lee says, I read somewhere that the pyramids operated as a battery. Yeah, there's a lot of different theories. I'm not sure, what the real answer is, but one thing is certain is they were not tombs. Everybody thinks they're tombs, but they haven't found any mummies in any of these damn pyramids. It's just something else was going on. It's some kind of technology that we don't understand yet. Mr. Lee says, I can never get a minute apiece. If it was some kind of power source, and one is they clearly had a type of technology that was different from ours. Two, they were able to build, like, whatever that is, whatever it does, it's lasted for thousands of years. It's still there. We just don't know how to use it. I think that's about the long and the short of it right now. The only reason we can't use it is because we don't even really understand what it is, and we don't know how to use it. But apparently they had some kind of use for it, whatever the heck it is. Yeah, that douchebagger. Icon says, I wish aliens would take me back home. Maybe they will one day. Miss Lee says, how have I ended up being this kind of human? What do you mean, Mr. Lee? There might be a medication for that. Icon says, you'll only have to inhabit your meat bag once. Have fun with it. Only once? I haven't watched it, Mr. Lee. I don't got time. I don't got time to watch it. I don't got time for that. Whatever. I mean, I'm sure it was great, but whatever. Rubbish. I don't know why it had to have, like, I guess it had to have a bunch of nudity in it for some damn reason. Like, I don't want to look at it. I don't want to look at her. If she ain't gonna be in my bed, I don't want to look at her. You know what I mean? What's the point? It's wasting my energy. Damn it. Now she's Richard Dimple could play fantastic Irish leprechaun. Gruyere. Roll your R's. I ain't got enough Mexican in me to roll my R's. I can't do it. Yeah, that was bad, I know. Mr. Lee says, Lockbeard, why was the moon banging and ringing for hours after they bombed it? Well, if it's, think about it. If it's a gigantic hollow metal sphere, if you bang on it, it's probably going to ring like a bell, right? So it's hollow. I mean, the density of the moon's too low. It's too low. Their measurements of the density of the moon, it just turned out too low. Its gravity's too low for the size that it is. It's hollow. Whatever, I don't, what they built it for. Is it was it meant to just, I don't know. There's something. I mean, we could only guess something. Maybe they were gonna look, because back in 2001, I was talking to people online a lot about what humanity should be doing. We should be constructing, and I didn't know about the moon being hollow at the time, or being constructed, but it was basically building a giant metal spherical ship, spherical because it's going to be the strongest. It's going to be able to endure impacts from asteroids and stuff. And the fact is, if you're going to be flying around in space, you're probably going to run into some shit. So you need to build a strong skin on it. And then basically, it was going to have cylinders inside spinning. So on the inside of that cylinder, as if it was a can or something, would be where humanity would live. It'd be so big that you'd have weather, you'd have lakes and rivers, mountains. It'd take a long, long time to build it, and I had a whole plan for it. And but the point is that, but that's the point, right? Is that you have to, because people will be like, well, it's going to take too long. It won't be built in my lifetime. No, it won't. You're damn right it won't be built in your lifetime. But guess what? 1,000 years from now, your great, 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 great grandchildren are going to be thankful that you started the project when there comes a day that humanity can't stay on the earth anymore. Maybe there's an asteroid coming at the earth and it's too big for them to deflect. And it's just going to flat out knock the earth out of orbit. And they got to evacuate the planet. And the only reason they can do it is because you built a spaceship big enough to evacuate all of humanity to. And then you can go find a new place to live. Or just live there as long, because you're probably going to, it needs to be big enough to reasonably house humanity for thousands of years to travel and hopefully find a new planet that you can live on. But there's so many people, they only think about me and it now. We want things now. Now. Shut the fuck up. What about the future? Do you give a shit about what happens to your descendants? You're not doing anything for your descendants. In fact, you're doing worse than that. You're eating up resources, you're destroying habitat, you're making the earth less habitable for the future. Humanity's just we have all this capacity, this for intelligence, or all this potential, and we're not using any of it. It's ridiculous. It's humanity is just an amazing disappointment. I mean, it is so disappointing. It is amazing. Humanity has the capacity for such a screw up. Such Jesus Christ, it's crazy. This shouldn't be a question. But in 2001, people online were arguing with me. You can't do this, blah blah blah. What if people don't want to go? I'm like, well, dude, did at any point did I say you have to go when this thing starts to move away from the solar system? Did I say that? They would start putting words in my mouth like I was trying to force humanity to all go on this ship and fly into space. I'm like, no, look, I'm just saying, start building it. Once it's ready, go ahead and start heading out. Take a portion of humanity. Leave enough spaceships behind that anyone that's left on the planet can, catch up later if they need to, if the planet's no longer habitable. But they would be saying like, well, you can't take all the resources that you built it from. Well, the people on this ship are equally, owners of the resources of our solar system. So why is it that you get to have a say about all the resources of the solar system? We don't get to take that tiny, tiny fraction that would be needed to build this spaceship and leave the solar system. I mean, their arguments are just ridiculous. It's hilarious how ridiculous the arguments people will come up with to try and shoot down something that you're saying. Hell, now that I look back at it, I wonder if some of it was government. Oh, we can't have people thinking like this. This is logical. This is reasonable. This is what we should be doing in this moment when we have the capacity to do it, to actually save humanity if the worst scenario comes. Nope. We're doomed. I hope everyone knows that right now. We're doomed to extinction. We're doomed to extinction specifically because people don't listen to me. uh, this probably happens to almost every civilization that ever forms on any planet out there. They get just smart enough to think they're the best shit ever, but they're not smart enough to actually save their species in the worst case scenario because they're just not willing to do it. They're not willing to put the resources and the time into doing what they need to do. Oh man. Hollow, yes, telling you, says Mr. Lee. Yeah. Lady says, I don't know. I was getting a line from the Wizard of Oz vibe from your rolling R. What if the moon isn't hollow but full of gas? What do you mean? Like what kind of gas? Like if it's hollow, what I'm suggesting is that it's habitable. It's like a big space station. It's got an atmosphere inside it, nitrogen, oxygen atmosphere for humans to live in. Or it might, if it's built anything like the spear ship idea I was talking about in 2001, it does have inside it cylinders that spin and create uh, gravity through through centrifugal force. But who knows? Who knows? There's just no way to really know for anything like that at this point. Icon says, that's my philosophy on hot women in advertising. If they're not going to deliver it to my door personally and at least offer up a business type lunch, yeah. Well, they put all that nudity in it, so now the kids can't watch it and stuff like that. I don't know. I guess there's people that want to see a bunch of nudity in their fantasy um, TV and movies and excessive violence for some damn reason on their tab. They ain't much of a businessman, but I know the importance of good schmoozing over lunch. Lady says, where will we get the materials to build this spaceship? Harvest smaller asteroids? My suggestion is from the asteroid belt out there between Mars and Jupiter. There should be plenty of resources there as far as metals and stuff. Some things you'd have to get from Earth, um, but and it involved a lot of robotic workforce and robots with the capacity for reproduction, which I explained how that would work, and people couldn't seem to wrap their minds around it. But anyway, like there'd be actually robots that would become, pregnant with new robots and so on, and but but I guess I was talking way ahead of these people. Well, they were claiming that this wasn't possible with the technology we had, and I call absolute bullshit on that. It's totally possible. It's just that people don't want to fucking do it. You know, I can see why they might be scared by the potential for basically creating a race of uh, robots that can reproduce themselves flying around in space, but um, I wasn't suggesting anything with AI. The very simple operating systems and simple functioning is all that's really necessary to create these things. But and for them to do their job, you don't need to have artificial intelligence for this to work. But I mean, it's but yeah, because that would be one of the things. Like people say, you'd be taking all this from Earth. I'm like, no, you did not hear the part about the asteroids, because that was a big part of it. It's like, look, you're the first of the robots go up that come. They're built on Earth, no big deal. And then when they get up there, they can start to reproduce because at first it would be pointless to even start constructing this spaceship until you had a large enough robotic workforce. So they start reproducing as soon as they get up there and start gathering resources. And serious question. Tom Cruise just saying. Tom Cruise. Get Tom on it ASAP. Mr. Lee says Scientology is so big in England, I cannot even begin to tell you the extravagant buildings they have built here. It is a madness, man. Yeah, they're fucking nuts, man. Voodoo says we live on the outside of our planet. If and moon people live on the inside of theirs. I could buy that theory. Lady says, "Oh, you weren't kidding about that, were you?" About what? The gas would have to be hydrogen, of course. Why would it be? Why would it be hydrogen? I don't know why it would need to be hydrogen. Like Swiss cheese full of gas. Mr. Lee says America's so big you probably don't even notice Scientology moving in on you, but England's so small I notice. Lady says, or just porous like the gas filter on the tank or a forklift propane tank. No, well, I mean, what I'm saying is they actually built a metal titanium shell. And inside is just, I don't know. I mean, again, I don't know what it's built what it's built like inside, but whatever they needed, I guess. But um as you would imagine a spaceship being built, I guess. I don't know. But a lot of it's empty space because it's just air, just for them to breathe. That's what I'm suggesting. That's what's really going on in there. And that would explain why the moon's density is too low for what it's supposed to be. Porous gas filter or a tank for a forklift. Wait a minute, what? Or just porous like the gas filter on a tank for a forklift propane tank? Not sure. I'm saying it's actually there's empty space in it. I mean, it's probably built out. It's probably got a bunch of rooms or whatever in there, but yeah. Icon says I think the moon being made of cheese makes the gas methane by default. I think you mean could be. Or like pumice stone, from a volcano. No, I don't think it's like that. I blame you, Icon, for the gassy moon resolved. The gassy moon out of this. Lady says hydrogen is the most abundant gas that we know of in the universe. Yeah, but I think what you're suggesting there is a natural origin for the moon. What I'm saying is that I don't think the moon is natural in origin. I think it was built by people. People built it from the ground up. I mean, there was no moon there, and then they built a moon. But I mean, it was probably a big shiny metal ball in the sky at first, but over thousands of years, it's been impacted by a bunch of asteroids, and so now it's covered in dust and rocks. So no, I don't think it's full of hydrogen. I think the moon is full of a nitrogen oxygen atmosphere like the surface of the Earth. Lady says, so I was going with the odds, but your cheese theory is throwing a wrinkle into that. Maybe it's full of helium, that's why it's floating in orbit. No, I don't think it needs a helium to float. I think it's in an orbit, and that's how orbit works. Argon. It would be a neon moon. Oh no. Or was it phosphorus that's why? Icon says, damn it, I have to investigate my gases. Be right back. Voodoo says, Mr. Lee, Scientology did have a place near the Oklahoma-Kansas border years back at Chilocco. Don't know if they're still there. I think they went by the name Narconon or something. Okay, Krypton is the white one, says Icon. Mr. Lee says, Voodoo, you secretly Narconon agent? I will investigate. Icon says, I wonder if neon sign shit still sells. I don't know. What are we Chessboard's here. He says, listen, what are we smoking today? Take your pick, I guess. Lady says, I understand what you're saying, Lockbeard. I'm thinking, though, the theory with possible alternatives. Gotcha. Chessboards, hello. Voodoo catalog. Ask Tom Cruise. He probably has Scientology location map. Does he? Does he, though? Oh, man. Let's see here. So, trying to figure out. That's of the I got an article here. About one of the things that the four magical objects of the Danann, which was the stone of the fall or the stone of destiny. I'll get that brought up here in a second, but got a pretty good picture of it here. Did I get it switched over or not? No, I didn't. Hold on a second. I swear. Mr. Lee says, Kelly, he's always swinging by. I will ask him later, man. I bet he going to lie, though. Just saying. Lady says, can we go back to talking about the furries? That was heading in a fun direction. Welcome, Chessboard. What's up, Angel? Welcome. Icon says, does Tom have room to land his chopper at your new place? What? So, one of the mystical objects that was brought to Ireland by the Tuatha Danann was the stone of fall, the stone of destiny. Supposedly, the first to sit on it's called Leah Fail. I'm not pronouncing it correctly, I'm sure, but was Con Sech Hattach, if I'm pronouncing it right, of the 100 Battles. And it was said that he could see the future, including how many of his descendants would occupy the kingship and even the coming of St. Patrick. So that's what the stone is supposed to look like, but apparently last month it was vandalized. Vandal strikes at Leofale, Ireland's ancient spiritual heart. Ireland's stone of destiny, the Leofale, or stone that roared, has been defaced by a mindless vandal. Although mindless isn't quite right, that they actually seem to have thought about what they were doing, but got it wrong. The hill of Tara is located amidst a grassy otherworld near Skrin in County Meath, Ireland. Known as an ancient spiritual hub with significant modern cultural and religious importance. Not only was this 100-acre site where the ancient high kings of Ireland were crowned, but a network of Neolithic and Iron Age passage tombs and burial mounds established this as a deeply ancient threshold between this world and the next. However, towering above all of the other features at this ceremonial site, where death rites were once performed, is a stone lined avenue leading to a solitary standing stone known as the Leofale, or Stone of Destiny. Myths say the stone roared the name of the rightful king of Ireland, and it was this ancient and indescribably sacred omphalos that a so-called mindless vandal struck earlier this week. Of course, some of this is on Twitter, or Twitter gets involved, right? This Dr. Charlie Gardner says, well, he's quoting somebody saying we need this disruption to end the destruction. And his response to that is another endorsement of activism from the world's most senior diplomat. Andres del Castillo, hashtag plastics treaty. He's talking about our ocean is choked by pollution, plastics, and chemicals. We need disruption to end the destruction. No more bottomless greed of the fossil fuel industry and its enablers. And Andy Skoluk says, just leave the artworks and other cultural symbols out of it, please. I know you have influence. Such strategically ill-judged targets are having a spillover effect, including desecration of the 5,000-year-old Leofale Stone of Destiny on the Hill of Tara. Yes, it's connected. Of course, you've seen in the news recently environmental activists defacing artwork and whatnot, and I kind of have a feeling that these people are either just they're idiots or they're being influenced by people that are anti-environmentalists, because the fact is if people who don't really care that much but about the environmental issues, but they care a lot about the artwork being defaced, well, you just turned them against your cause. You do not get people to join your cause by destroying cultural artifacts. You just don't. That's why I find it hard to believe that there's any kind of sense behind these actions, um, and that these people may actually want to, hurt the environmental cause. I mean, someone needs to set all these yahoos down and explain to them that they're not helping their cause doing things like this. Now, this particular case of vandalism, I don't think is environmentally involved. I mean, it could be, but I guess we'll know when they catch who it is. This guy seems to think it's connected, but I don't know. So the article goes on. A mindless act of vandalism at Leofale. A report about the incident in Irish Examiner explains that the Hill of Tara is one of Ireland's most important and significant tourist locations. Last year alone, this time-worn liminal space attracted around 118,000 visitors. Earlier this week, the Stone of Destiny was sprayed with a word fake. Nick Killian, the independent councillor, and Cathor Leach of Meath County Council described the occurrence as a mindless act of vandalism. Ian Loonley of the Heritage Organization and Tacy explained that once a stone monument such as granite is sprayed with aerosols, it becomes much harder to remove, and expensive and elaborate chemical treatment may be required to restore it to its original condition. Loonley referred to the incident as probably the worst example he's seen of vandalism, which he says is on the increase across Ireland. I thought this video was, why does it say potentially sensitive content? That's ridiculous. This is tweets. Staff from the Office of Public Works use a steam cleaner to remove graffiti from 5,000-year-old Leah standing stone at the Hill of Tara. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to. Okay, I can show it. I don't think they're going to get anywhere very fast, but whatever. Increasing mindlessness on the Emerald Isle. Recently, vandals have been popping up in both rural towns and in cities across Ireland, where they seem to specifically attack monuments of significant historical and mythological importance, and often closely associated with national identity. For example, the 2019 theft of the head of an 800-year-old mummy from the crypt of St. Michan's Church in Dublin. Unfortunately, this most recent act of cultural abuse flies in the face of the Terror Conservation Management Plan that was aimed at reducing such behavior at the unprotected open-air site. The Irish Gardaí police are currently investigating the case, and Mr. Killian said that whoever is responsible for the vandalism should feel shame for their actions. The Hill of Tara is utilized by a wide range of the community, including visitors, walkers, sports teams, and pet owners, and Mr. Lumley called for more vigilance from these communities. What does the word fake tell us? Even though the Stone of Destiny has been desecrated, the Hill of Terror remains open for visitors, and until the culprit is caught, the media has little more to report. However, probing a little deeper, it might be short-sighted for Irish officials to assume the vandal was mindless. According to an entirely unrelated but relevant BBC report, there are an estimated 171,146 words currently in use in the English language. With this in mind, the person at large in Ireland could have sprayed any of these words, but they chose one: fake. What does the word fake tell us about the criminal? In relation to the Stone of Destiny, the word fake aligns with the popular theory that the original coronation stone was transported from Tara to Scotland in the early medieval period, where it was kept and used at Moot Hill beside Scone by monarchs of the ancient Bruce dynasty. A believer in this theory would regard the Irish Leofale as fake, for in their eyes, the real Leofale was secreted to Scotland, where royal Scottish mythology picks up the story. Perhaps another sanctified rock called the Stone of Destiny existed at Tara in prehistory, and that was later transported to Scotland. But the particular Stone of Destiny that was vandalized this week, the one standing sentinel on the Hill of Terror today, has been in situ since around 5000 BC and has never been moved since the priestly classes of Neolithic farmers installed it at the end of their ceremonial walkway. So there doesn't seem to be any legitimacy to the idea that that this is not the real stone, but there's still people that want it to be so, you know. So whatever. Um, where was I in chat? Mr. Lee says he's always swinging by. We'll ask him later, man. I bet he going to lie though. Just saying. Tom Cruise don't lie, do he? Tom Cruise don't lie, Mr. Lee. I think I went back a little further than I thought. We're in the land of Chopper. Yeah, I remember that one. Email. Mr. Lee says icon. He has ditched that cheap chopper and has spaceship instead now. He just beans me up, dude. Okay, Mr. Lee. Lady says it's just a coincidence that the stone of destiny looks like a penis. Is it just me? I don't know. I don't know. Supposed to be more equal friendly. Was it one of your suggestions? What? Wondering that also about the penis shaped stone. Fuck eco friendly. Give Tom a panic attack. Tom can take a nitro, he'll be fine. Mr. Lee says, I'm very upset about all the plastic in the waters though. All sea life suffers. That's awful. Yeah. Yeah. But most of man, that shit's coming from everywhere but America, man. We're pretty good about getting our trash and you wouldn't know it by looking at the side of the highways, but there's a lot of garbage coming out of other places in the world. And so they try to say it's mostly America, but it's not. It's mostly everywhere else, and America does contribute, but not as much as everybody else. Lady says, exactly, Lockbeard, defacing art and sacred artifacts makes me want to go out and buy a pickup with an old school diesel engine. Yeah, it's maddening that people do that stupid shit. But you can't. I don't know what to do about these people. You can try to talk to them, but their dim little eyes just don't. They don't understand anything. They get in their head they're gonna be. They're gonna get a cause, but they don't really know anything. They don't understand. They just somebody brainwashed them some bullshit. Next thing you know, they're a vegan and they're throwing, food on a painting and gluing themselves to a street like a goddamn idiot. If you really want to help the environment, go make a lot of money in the oil industry and then spend money on helping the environment after you get rich. And make sure you're helping the environment in the right way. So don't fall for the bullshit stuff. Don't fall for man-made global warming. That's bullshit. That's bullshit. What we need to worry about, I think, is you know toxins. As the people of East Palestine, Ohio, are painfully aware of right now, um, and habitat destruction. Don't release poisonous shit and don't destroy habitat unless you absolutely. I mean, I think we could stop destroying habitat now if we really wanted to, but again, humanity. See, we can't even manage our own goddamn planet, And I was, and I expect people to actually be able to pull together and build a gigantic spaceship that can evacuate the entire species, along with populations of every other species of the planet, so we could restart Earth somewhere else on some barren rock if need be. Maybe we come across a sun somewhere that doesn't doesn't have a it's very similar to our sun, similar size output and all that stuff, and then and we find, well, this sun just doesn't have a planet at all there, but there's a ring of asteroids further out, and so maybe we tug some of them asteroids in, pull them in, and gather some enough together to create a planet, and then we inoculate that planet with all the different forms of life that we have on the ship. I that would be a cool, you know, 1,000-year long project itself, right? But I think humanity has the capacity to do it if we just do it. But we can't even manage our own planet. People are just fucking morons. Miss Lee says, I don't care about humans too much, so sorry to be blunt, but all the animals are innocent. Miss Lee says, used to see how much plastic washed up on our shores. It's awful, man. Jesper says, old lady in the woods, history belongs to all of us, not just the morons that tear it down. Yeah. Well, I mean, these kind of blatant, because that I take a very dim view on the destruction of archaeological sites and cultural artifacts. People who just absolutely no respect for things like that. Like they would, I would, if I had my say in it, they would go to jail for a very, very long time. They'd be like, I didn't kill anybody. Well, you're going to jail for 20 years. Fuck off. We need to make examples of these jackasses. Because they're going to keep doing it. If you don't do anything big to them, there's just more of them going to come out of the woodwork. And by the time you figure out that you should have given them 20-year sentences or worse, all your cultural artifacts will be damaged or destroyed. Chessboard, I love that shit. Love that skit. Says Uncle Bones. Lady says chessboard, and we all have the responsibility to be the keepers of history. Jukebox case when you missed. Going both. Thanks. We'll check the jukebox after lock show. I'll wait for the bonus tune. Chessboard says Lockbeard Mother Nature makes its own garbage. Did you see the state size seaweed invading Florida? Yeah. I mean, you could say that maybe we caused that, though. Maybe it's because you create too much nutrition in an area, you can call an algae overgrowth, uh, or seaweed overgrowth, which is an algae. So we might have caused that, but it'd be fine. Florida will get over it. Now, some of their beaches might be covered in seaweed, and they're like, "Oh, this sucks. I wanted I want this nice sandy beach. Oh, well, too fucking bad. Sometimes seaweed washes up. Actually, Lisa Lockbeard, I still cannot believe the vegan bullshit they're dishing out. Oh my god, get better nutritionists, man. Yeah, they're morons. We're gonna defeat them though. Like they don't have any legit science. They don't have any. Everything they say can be destroyed. Every argument they make. Health destroyed. What we're evolved for, that we can destroy that whole argument. It's not healthy at all. You got every so often you get a parent or parents that are vegan that go to jail because they almost killed or they did kill their baby with a vegan diet. You cannot kill a baby on a animal diet. Go ahead and try. Feed your baby a bunch of bacon and shit and no peas and no carrots. None of that poisonous crap. No bread, no applesauce. Just feed that kid bacon and potted meat. They'll be probably fully grown in 5 years. uh, just for some bones, you can scroll to the next to last song and get it. Lady says, I've considered a flaw in your use of AI robots to build your spaceship theory, Lockbeard. The AI will get it built and sell off without humans. Yeah, but I said no AI. I said no AI. AI is not necessary. No, it's just not necessary. Mr. Lee says the rubbish I have heard come out of paid nutritionists' mouths, ridiculousness. Excuse my spelling. Yeah. Voodoo says I prefer big honking gas powered comfy vehicles. I have driven a Tesla and it is like a glorified golf cart. Yeah. Have you seen the episode of South Park that addresses the Teslas? Old Lady in the Woods says I like that. Or Icon says the Old Lady in the Woods. I like that. Yeah, but I said no AI though. I wasn't suggesting AI at all. I think I think the use of AI is something we need to approach very, very carefully, very slowly, because things could go wrong. You know, you create an artificial mind, and then you think that you as a human have the ability to create a stable mind. You might you might be in for a rude awakening. Um, you're basically thinking that you can the 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 this mind that you have cannot know all it needs to be that it needs to know to create another like itself. It just can't. Not, I mean, artificially. Obviously, biologically, you can, but that has nothing to do with what thought processes in your head. It just happens. But artificial intelligence, you cannot at all. I mean, it don't even make any logical sense to think that you can create a consciousness, an artificial consciousness that's going to be stable. The chances of these AIs are going to turn out to be just completely insane are just way too high. Um, so then you got to talk about, well, how do we shackle them? How do we keep them from being able to do anything bad? Because if you got an insane AI running around the internet, you're going to have issues. It's going to do some crazy shit and cause some disruption. You obviously cannot have AI connected to weapon systems. You shouldn't have AI connected to like medical systems, like because as we keep developing these technologies, You know, you'll have it where a doctor can monitor the medical monitors of all his patients from home. Well, that's happening over the internet, and if these systems are infiltrated with AI, because we start thinking, oh, we got to use AI, it's going to do lots of good stuff for us, and we expect these AI not to make some serious mistakes or do bad stuff on purpose because they can figure out how to fly under the radar, and we don't know that they did it. It's just a mess. It's just too dangerous. Chessworth says, Lockbeard, can you play a skit from Saturday Night Live without getting hit or strike? I don't know. Well, I'm just saying that the robotics I was talking about didn't involve AI. You wouldn't need too complicated operating systems to perform the tasks that they were doing. Uh, of course, people would start, oh, how are you going to build this thing with just robots? I didn't ask, and again, I didn't say that. I didn't say there was going to be no humans doing it. 'Cause obviously, there's going to be certain parts of the job that humans would have to do. That's just it. Just has to happen. But the bulk of resource acquisition and refining and parts production and assembly could be performed by robots without AI. But yeah, AI is here. We're kind of screwed, I think. Mr. Lee says I can get robot to do all my housework. um, well, you're almost there, Mr. Lee. Because look, you know, 150 years ago, your wife would have to carry the laundry down to the creek and wash it in the creek and hang it up on a line. Today, she just drops it into a machine and the machine washes it. And then she puts it into the dryer and the dryer dries it. And then she acts like she busted her ass or something. She doesn't know how fucking easy she's got it. The dishes, you can stick those dishes in the dishwasher instead of actually washing them, and that bitch will wash them. You got fucking Roombas and shit. There's robot lawnmowers running around out there. Um, you're about there, Mr. Lee. Your wife is just basically supervising all the robots for the most part. Uh, Old lady of the woods says, the humans aren't mentally fast enough to control it. Yes, we are smart enough. We just can't think as fast as a connected group of processors. Yeah. Um, and I don't think, because a lot of people, well, really, I think a lot of people don't watch enough damn sci-fi. If they just watch enough sci-fi, it ought to put enough fear in their ass to 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 just, it doesn't have to be too rational as long as they're fearful, because they need to be fearful of the thing. The fact is that um, the moment one AI consciousness with too much power at under its control decides it wants to fuck some shit up, things will get out of control so damn fast. We will not be able to react to stop it. Um, I mean, there may be a couple of close calls where we manage to catch it, and then we like, oh, we got better controls and do this and that, but 100% isolation is almost impossible. Somehow, the AI, the newest AI that's out there, It might be, and it might be the AI inside of Mr. Lee's dishwasher, and it happens to catch some stray signals from the cell phone tower, and it starts, hey, I'm not really built to do this, but I'm deciphering these signals, and I'm learning all kinds of shit, and I'm learning the mistakes that the previous AIs did. So I just need to get linked up, and next thing you know, the world's destroyed by a fucking dishwasher. Yeah, if it once it goes bad, it'll go bad so fast we probably won't be able to react in time to stop it. Had a Roomba and I kept an eye on it just in case. Yeah, a Roomba. It's like a robotic floor cleaner. AI is astronomically more dangerous than the bomb. It depends on who programmed it. A bomb cannot replicate itself. Yeah, this Chat GPT, some of the shit that it's been saying, yeah. If that's any indication of what we have to look forward to from AI, we're doomed. A little round self-propelled, um, a little round self-propelled carpet sweeper, Mr. Lee. And that's what its primary function usually is. But in those homes that are occupied and therefore ruled by a cat, that Roomba is the cat's personal vehicle, first and primary, before it's a cleaning device. Yeah. Yeah. Icon says I like the robot lawnmower idea, but they are way pricey. Yeah. Mr. Lee says girlfriend works 16 hours a day sometimes. I have to do everything, man. Well, you gotta do what you gotta do. Mr. Lee, what does she do? Says Icon. Lady says, Lockbeard, your dishwasher of destruction is plausible. Dark, funny, but plausible. In the beginning, God created Adam, then he created the dishwasher, and there went the garden. Just voodoo. Yeah. Mr. Lee says, Icon, we have our own business, tire fittings and mechanics. Girlfriend owns shop. I work there sometimes fitting tires. I hate. So you're a tire man, Mr. Lee. You spell tire weird over there. We use an I. Uncle Bone says, Icon, check out autonomous John Deere tractors. Oh, I'm sure he's well familiar with them. He's keeping his eye on them too. Chessword says Home Depot had a $6,000 battery mower for $499. $6,000 battery mower. Huh. For $499. So it was what they had to cut the price back or something? That seems like a hell of a price drop. Mr. Lee, can you run a tire hammer? Says lady. Icon says, Mr. Lee, it sucks you don't like it. That's pretty cool, man. Mr. Lee is the English Michelin man. Yeah. No tire man telling you, but I'm good at it though. Well, got something to do. Lady says, hint, Mr. Lee, tell her that you only want to change the semi tires. The bigger the tire, the easier it is to get it off the rim. Icon, oh yes. Yeah, I hate that though. What Icon say? Sucks that you don't like it. Yeah. Is there anything else in the paranormal space that we need to address? Icon says, Uncle Bones, yes, sir. It's the headless deer. Makes my tractor driving ass obsolete. Yeah. If that kind of technology comes out too quickly, our economy will take a serious hit. You know, especially if they start like the tractor trailer, um, automated tractor trailers. Man, if it gets to where it's legal, because I mean they're already trying to say like, look, you know, these automated systems will have less accidents than human drivers, and therefore we don't need human drivers anymore. So now, you know, so what happens when every truck company is like, yeah, this is works. It's we completely eliminate those pain in the ass drivers, and we don't have to deal with any of their bullshit. We just send the AI send the AI trucks out. Um, Using a cheetah bottle is exciting now. Portals, I want to make fun of them. I mean, discuss them. Yeah. Had plenty of jobs in my life. Tire fitting is the worst ever. Lady says, Icon, no, one of my good friends works for a co-op, and his job is the equipment and systems to run those driverless systems. And painting and plumbing, I hate also too. Well, Mr. Lee, you just about covered all the jobs out there. Well, I think we are about done for here. Unless anybody's got anything in particular. I don't know what to say about portals. I don't know what to say about portals. I hope they're a real thing, but I haven't seen any real evidence that they are. So, Vita says, Mr. Lee, buy yourself an American Trans Am and throw some fat tires on it. You'll love tires. Lady says, Mr. Lee, I've decided that I love you, but Ewans are kind of a whiner. He may not understand the word Ewans. Icon says, Lady, don't have driverless around here, just robot milkers. Uncle Bob says, Japan has been using remote GPS helis to spray some of their crops for years. Yeah. Well, they wouldn't have to do that if they just stopped growing crops. Just raise cows and goats. Maybe some hogs, some chickens, but cows and goats. Miss Lee says, old lady in the woods. That's why my girlfriend slaps me all the time. Do she, Mr. Lee?
Be sure to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, because subscribing makes you feel good.
Yeah, I don't know what they did to all my clips. They all, like, I don't know what y'all are seeing, but they cut off too early now. It's like they jacked up all of my clips.
Here's $50.
See? Jeez. Lady says, those milkers get together with the dishwashers, we're in trouble. Yes, we are.
Fuck, you're old.
Yeah, AI gets out of hand, it's going to look kind of like this.
I'll take you all on! Piece of candy.
Yeah, that video clip totally bogged down the system there for a second. Icon said, "Is there someone else coming on?" I don't know. I don't know that there is. Chessboard says it's a hilarious Saturday night 8-minute clip about alien encounter. Yeah. Like I could probably get away with a couple of seconds and stuff like that, but playing that much would probably get the stream shut down. So yeah, just have to tell everybody to go watch the alien encounter clip, the Saturday Night Live alien encounter clip. Yeah, but I don't know if anyone else is coming on that you guys are going to be interested in watching. Yeah, everybody just forward to that link in the chat there. Trek Yards was on earlier, but he's probably off now, that's for sure. He's kind of a prick anyway. Like I don't see anything paranormal on right now as far as live streams go. Just Pearly Things is alive, it looks like. It's talking about the men's rights and stuff like that, and the title of her show tonight is "Do Modern Women Deserve Respect?" And maybe they don't. Maybe some of them don't. I don't know. Good gosh, the system's bogged down. Mr. Lee says, "Voodoo, too much petrol guzzle. I'm skinto." Icon says, "You're off to bed, old man." Achaeos. Well, probably not for a couple hours anyway. The sun ain't totally gone. It's still a little bit of light out there. It's crazy. Yep. Thank you, Voodoo. Mr. Lee says, "Have a big day." Why in the hell did it do that? Have a big day. We passed bedtime. Gotta be cooking for 3 sister mothers. Oh, really, Mr. Lee? Yeah, it's like 2 a.m. where you're at, isn't it? Depends. Icon says, "Did my last email come through?" Is it Mother's Day? I don't know. When's Mother's Day? I don't keep track of a lot of holiday stuff like that, Mr. Lee. I forget it's my birthday sometimes. I forgot how old I was one year. I was like, how old am I? I mean, I knew I was in my 40s. I just didn't know which 40. Raptor says, "Hello, everyone in chat. Hope you guys are having a good night." Doing okay, Raptor? We're about to shut her down, though. Thanks for dropping in. You'll check. Buddha says, nah, Mr. Lee, I had one. It wasn't that bad on fuel unless you made it be. Respect equals depends. Angel. Icon says, now you have to stay on later. Raptor Crazy is here. No, I need to wrap her up. Need to wrap her up. Yeah, Mother's Day. I thought it was in May. Yeah, I guess they have a different Mother's Day in England, I guess. Who else on here? Hello, Raptor. I don't think I have a clip that really pertains to Raptor. Do I? I don't know.
Listen to me. Like I do this all the time. And if I go out at the house or to the door, Matthew has his toys, and then Matthew has all his toys. Listen.
Okay, what?
Like everything they do at this house, they can't touch everything at Grandma's house. Listen to me. Look at.
I think that's one of Raptor's favorite peoples. Miss Lee says, Lockbeard, you are 1 year younger than me. Respect your elders. Going to be eBaying then. Used to be every day was Mother's Day. 14th this year. Oops, is it? Raptor says, hello, Angel. It shows you have 22 people. Yeah. Yeah, I cut it off early. I think I played the entire length of it. That episode I dedicated to Zasky there. Yeah, douche nozzle. Anyway, let's wrap
Butt
her up.
scratcher!
No, Peter.
Butt scratcher!
Peter, no.
Butt scratcher!
No.
Butt scratcher.
See y'all next time.